Welcome, everyone, to the League of Cinephiles, and welcome to our spoiler discussion for the new film Fast X. I was about to say Fast 9. I don't know why. Fast X, the newest, maybe the first big summer blockbuster of this season. And today, folks, I have a great panel with me. All three of them you saw in our last spoiler discussion a couple weeks ago. We were talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. If you haven't already, check out that discussion. It was a ton of fun. But starting off to my right, we have the man himself, brother of a character you might know from the Fast and Furious franchise. We have Luke Hobbs.
That's his actual name.
I realize that.
I am literally him, though. I am literally him.
You are. And kind of on the bottom is, he was here last time, it is Rod from the Cinema Gallery.
I have no fancy intro. I have no family affiliation to the Fast family. So congratulations.
No that's impossible. No way. And last but not least, we have the chef himself, cooking himself a very nice buffet for today. It is Chef Diesel.
Oh yes, about to roast some meat, of this film. Yeah.
For sure, guys. All right, guys. And if you haven't already, if you're new to the League of Cinephiles, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and stay, in tune with the live chat. Ask us some questions about the film. We would be more than welcome to answer anything you had to say about Fast X. But, guys, let's say we get started here with our first category, pros. Luke, you're the resident Fast and Furious expert, not just in the league, but like anywhere on YouTube ever. Tell us, what do you like about Fast X? You gave it quite the score.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy this one. Are we not at that segment yet? Oh, I'm sorry.
But that's a pro.
Pros is that it is better than Fast 9, which is what the one thing I was hoping for from this installment. I thought Fast 9 they were losing track a bit. They were going stupid without kind of realizing it. And then this one, they've kind of more acknowledged it and maybe not try to go bigger, but try to go better with what they already have and try to take it back down to the ground. Because as we all know, they did go up into space in the last one. And I'm glad that they stuck to the ground, mostly stuck to the ground. There are some jumps.
Some aerial sequences.
Spectacular. And the action, I thought, was enjoyable. There's some very good set pieces. You can see that they actually filmed like through the streets of Rome, especially in that one sequence. Like you look at the behind the scenes of it, it looks spectacular. There's some CGI, some dodgy replacement cars, but it is what it is. And of course, the Jason Momoa. I think he's the biggest pro of all, and I think we'll get to him later.
Rod.
Yeah, I didn't hate Fast 9 like most people do. I found some enjoyment with it still. I know they went to space, and that was that. I did like how this felt more like 5, 6, and 7 in terms of groundedness for a Fast and Furious movie. Jason Momoa is the standout for sure. Some great action sequences. I appreciate that they gave Charlize Theron a little bit more to do in this movie, like an actual fight scene instead of typing random words on the computer. And yeah, that's about it for me.
All right, I'll go next. I'll save the chef for last. So I agree with a lot of what Rod and Luke said. I didn't hate Fast 9 like a lot of people. Fate of the Furious is actually my favorite Fast and Furious movie, so I kind of like when they go kind of over the top. I don't like when they stick to the ground because I don't care about cars. I don't even drive myself, so I don't really have a connection to any of that. But when they go over the top, that's actually something because I'm not looking for groundedness in these movies. So Fate of the Furious, I really like. Fast 9, even for me, that was a bit too much, space and everything. So Fast X, I was, I think eagerly anticipating it like a lot of people were. I think for interesting reasons, but it wasn't good. It wasn't great. I think I agree with a lot of people. Like everybody coming out of this movie was like, oh, the dialogue sucks, the story sucks, the acting sucks, but the action's really good and there's some fun set pieces and Jason Momoa is really good. I pretty much agree with all of that. I have some problems with Jason Momoa's performance, which I'm sure we'll get to. But overall, I had a fun time despite the fact that I probably give this a negative score. I can vibe with it, and it's not. I think it's like middle of the pack for the franchise for me. Nikita.
Look, I think a negative score is like a staple for this franchise at this point. So I think for me is let's say comparing it to Fast Nine. So here we have a broken pencil. Okay, Fast Nine.
It's not broken.
Real pencil
Is that broken?
with a little bit of contact there. But that doesn't mean this pencil can write a good story.
That
you
one's
know?
not broken though.
I mean, the previous ones were a mess, but it was like enjoyable mess. I liked the whole space and tanks and submarines and the crazy stuff. Because I mean, clearly it's off the rocker. You know, they lost their shit a while back. So this time I'm just expecting what craziness they're gonna do. And I mean, yes, this was there, the helicopters, but I mean, this is like kindergarten level compared to them. I was hoping there would be time travel or something of the sorts, you know, because what do you go after space, you know? From the positives, I don't know. The sun was kind of nice, like like I really need to get the
I don't think I even have a
bottom of the
picture
barrel.
of that character with me, and I have a picture of like every character.
That was his favorite character. How can you not have a picture?
I don't know.
Yeah, the Rome scenes were cool. I agree. That was probably like the only sensible sequence in the movie. That, you know, like they came to Rome, mission is botched, and then they're trying to kind of make the best of the situation. And that crane sequence was probably the only outlandish thing there was. Well, not counting the end, of course, that was insane. I mean, I was sitting laughing there, but I wanted more of those laughs. Like like the Fast Nine started with them driving through a minefield, and I was just holding my head and laughing hysterically because what stupidity is this? And unfortunately, we didn't get that stupidity. They tried to be grounded, and at the same time, they tried to be outlandish, but they could not get either, for me at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all agree the action was pretty good. At least I think it's on par with some of the best in the franchise, like Fast Five, as well as some of the other stuff we talked about, the outlandish stuff that you see in like Furious 7, Fate of the Furious. I think the Rome sequence was really good, like you said. The entire thing with the ball in Rome, I thought that was really kind of anxiety-inducing, especially it kept going and it kept going. And the scene was really long, but I actually found myself being connected to it a lot as like the more it went on, which is interesting because you have like a lot of chase scenes. Like I remember one in The Mandalorian, the Vespa chase sequence where I'm like, oh god, that was Book of Boba Fett, my bad. I'm like, oh god, just end it. This I got bored like 5 minutes ago. But the action scenes in this were really good. The crane thing, yeah, I agree. I'm not sure.
He used physics. He used them. He created a moment with the.
He would have destroyed the car if he would.
Yo, Mr. White, science. You know, yeah.
I did enjoy the last sequence, except when his son jumped out of the car. That was a bit too much for me. I don't know. I don't know, but I did like the entire thing with the helicopters. You know, pulling the helicopters down. I also thought Jason Momoa added some like a humor to the action scenes that was kind of not grounded it, but made it a lot more fun. And his villain was just, I think we could talk about him now. I thought he's maybe one of the best in the franchise. Get ready to see this picture a lot, guys. So, it's the only one I have. But he was really good, different. I had some problems with him. I thought sometimes he took too much from other like Heath Ledger's Joker and some other like serial killer movie villains, which I felt like tonally it was a bit weird. I'm like, there's one scene I hated, which is the scene where he's talking to two dead guys and he's like painting their nails, and
that was weird.
I just felt it was this is a Fast and Furious movie. It felt like it's really dark and weird, and it was like this is more fit for like a Hannibal Lecter movie, not Fast and Furious. But overall, I thought he was just a really kind of fun, menacing villain. He added this level of not really caring about the events that are transpiring, which I felt like added kind of a lot of kind of freshness to the franchise.
You said he's one of the best villains. I think he is the best villain in the franchise.
I would agree.
Because kind of like Mission Impossible, not a whole lot of memorable villains in that franchise.
Yeah.
Even I love that franchise, except for Philip Seymour Hoffman. So here,
whoa. Sean Harris is a really good villain.
Oh yeah, he walked in.
One of Alex's takes that
And Henry
Seymour
Cavill's
Hoffman
great
is
too.
very overrated.
Yeah,
as
I
a
don't
villain.
think he's that good, man. But
Anyway, we're talking about Fast and Furious, but yeah, I really like Momoa here. I liked how he kind of really put the team over the edge, or really Dom over the edge a few times.
Yes.
Always kind of one step ahead. I agree. Sometimes Alex, the tonally, it was a little off sometimes with his performance. But there was one scene I really liked, and it's when they were, I think it's Rio or Brazil, when they go back to do the race. I really like that whole sequence. I love that sequence quite a bit. So yeah, something different for the franchise. Looking forward to seeing how they're going to use him in Fast XI, Fast XX. I don't know, whatever comes next after Fast X. So, but yeah, great performance, great villain.
Nikita, Luke, your thoughts on Momoa?
Well, for me, he was like Jared Leto's Joker meets Zoolander.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how we felt like.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Because he was pretty stupid. And look, if we don't think about it, but like, I mean, we have to think about it in a way that the guy was literally covering every single base. He was an omnipotent villain. Like, whatever you want is at his disposal. He's one step ahead of everyone. And we've had such villains before, but clearly they had support and help and know-how. But this guy is seemingly just, on his own. There's no secret agency behind him. He's just there, He's in every place, like automated trucks, I don't know what. So that kind of, like made me scratch my head, but everything is scratching the head. Like there was a hole in the head by the end.
I actually like that there wasn't like a team. I think that made him more of like a personal villain.
Well, to Nikita's point,
he was the first.
I'm sorry, Nikita, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was thinking like he lost all of his money, right, from his father. How the hell did he get all this money for like his gadgets and stuff? Where'd that money come from?
Well, where has he been for like 10 years? That's my question. He must have been grinding.
He literally wakes up in the water.
He's working like a Chipotle for 10 years.
He was starring in Aquaman. That's where he made his money. But he literally woke up in the water, so he became Aquaman. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Well, where was he for 4 movies? Yeah, exactly.
But I do think I commend Momoa for kind of going all in on the character, because he could have kind of put in like a kind of half-assed kind of effort. But he went all in, which is good. It didn't feel like it was kind of it didn't feel like he wasn't committing enough. So I appreciate that. Luke, where would you rank? I liked Idris Elba personally more in like Hobbs and Shaw. That would be my personal pick for best villain.
I'm Black Superman. As he so famously said. No, I would agree with Rod. I think he's the best villain. I'd put him probably next to Deckard Shaw.
Oh, actually, I love Shaw.
Deckard Shaw has like no lines in that movie. I realized.
What about Luke Evans, his brother?
Luke Evans. He's not as.
It's like the Suicide Squad of the Fast and Furious movies.
No, I think I could compare Jason Momoa's addition to the franchise similar to The Rock's in Fast 5, that they needed some big opposition to reinvigorate some life back into the franchise. And Momoa brought exactly that. Unlike you guys, I did love the scene where he's painting his nails and talking to the dead guys, or the line he has, "What are we going to blow up? The Vatican." Oh. Like just talking to himself. It's a very Joker thing, like you guys said.
There was one line he had that was really good. It was the one where he's talking. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna blow up the Vatican," and he said like something about like them going to hell. He's like, "Just." Yeah. I thought it was like one of the few moments where
and I also like that.
Had a good laugh.
Like that he was the one that caused the Fast and Furious franchise to have a Swan Lake needle drop. That's not something I expected, but yes. Somehow it works.
That was, I agree, that was an unexpectedly nice part. I mean, I love Swan Lake, of course, and that was not expected at all. And yeah, with the shots and everything, that was a cool sequence. Mm-hmm. And Brie Larson got shot, so that's nice.
My favorite character in the movie was actually Jacob Toretto, which I didn't expect going in. I really liked him. Thank you.
It's a complex topic, but yeah, go ahead.
I like Jacob a lot more than I did in F9. It's kind of similar, very similar to what he did in Peacemaker, the kind of vibe he gave off. But I thought he first of all, he AA'd someone through the floor, which in wrestling, that's his finishing move in wrestling. So he did
Even that. I know that.
So immediately I was already into the character. I already loved him. And I just thought the entire thing with the kid, I thought when they were on the plane, I thought that was fun. He was watching Minions on the plane. Did anyone catch that? I got a good laugh at that. The entire thing. Well, okay. This is actually, I find it very funny how he brought an entire ship with him into the airport. and then
What the hell?
He got it through security, no
and then they
problem.
jumped out of it, and then he used vodka as a fuel source. So okay,
150 ml of
they
vodka. to
weren't
power
even
a
the
ship,
big
okay?
bottles; they were the
This
small.
is literally one shot for dinner, and it powers the plane. My God, you
I
know,
could have
yeah.
drank that in like 2 seconds. He used like 3 of the mini bottles. He didn't even use like the big. Well, Smirnoff, that was the brand that he used. But anyways, I thought their entire thing was fun. How he had like that little.
It's a nice
blue
road trip movie in the middle
yeah,
of this.
I agree. And his
If-
death. Well, I'm not completely sold on the fact
He's
that
not
he's
dying.
not-
He's
he's
not
not
dead.
I hope not, but I think
I
it
got
is.
like if it is like I think it was an emotional moment. Like I actually cared for kind of the character a lot. So I was kind of that was a nice little.
I think it was
moment.
unnecessary.
Yeah,
if
I
he
agree.
really is dead, but it was a
No,
rocket
especially
jump,
because I
so
wanted to see The Rock and John Cena in Fast X
Yeah,
2 or
like that
3.
once in a
That's why I
lifetime
was
thing.
kind of pissed. Yeah.
You will,
Nikita?
Alex. Don't worry. He's not dead. This is the MCU.
But
No one stays dead.
just to stay on the topic, I don't think he's dead. No one dies in these movies, as we saw in the end.
Mhm.
Even Wonder Woman came back. What's it called? I agree that honestly, John Cena were the best scenes with him. But at the same time, what boggles me is how he went from like a cold-blooded psychopath from previous part to just killing. He was like a master. He was the mastermind spy. Like he was Jason of the
Yeah.
previous part. He was
He
like
became
a
part of the
machine
family.
beating up and killing everyone.
Well, he went to
Running
the
plots,
barbecue. He went to.
And he became Phil Dunphy in this movie. My God. Yeah, like but I love his parts because that's where John Cena is good. I don't know if you've seen a movie called Trainwreck, but there this was his comedic performance from there. He like that. These are the roles he's made for. You know, he's funny, he is big, he kicks ass. You know, all
his
his
action's really good.
were excellent. You know, he's intimidating, and this whole goofiness with the car, and then they go and him and the kid gelled well together. I
Yeah.
love those parts, but I hated how they just like. How do you like in one movie you had 2 bottles of Corona and you become Phil Dunphy? Yeah, like what the hell is this? Yeah.
I mean, Jason Statham is. I guess Statham's still a bit not completely part of the family. Like
he's
John
still
Cena
Jason
is.
Statham.
He's still the angry uncle, you know.
yeah.
But he's Jason Statham. He cannot be like a lovable guy. Like,
Yeah. Any other features anybody loved or at least kind of was more positive on?
No, I like that
Taylor
Statham.
Wilkins.
Or not Statham, Cena. I think this goes back to directing. I don't think Justin Lin and F9 knew how to use Cena. Where I think here they Louis Leterrier, I pronounce his last name. He definitely knew how to
Now
use.
You See Me fame.
Yes,
Of course.
he knew how to use Cena properly with Nikia talking about the comedy and just using him better in the action sequences and stuff. And I felt like in F9 too was kind of, I don't know if it was overacting, it just something was off in F9. Here it just felt more natural.
Yeah.
And his chemistry with the kid was really good. So, and then the post-credit scene I liked a lot.
Oh, that was
We'll talk about that separately.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did not mention that. Yeah.
So another part that I really liked. I mean, it was only one scene, but the entire thing with Jason Statham. I know this is not from Fast X, but they didn't show him in the trailers. So, but yeah, I love Jason Statham in everything. So, and he's one of the better actors in the franchise. So, his scene was kind of fun. I thought the action was really good. The fact that there was somebody in the bag in the bag that was
very random.
That was hilarious.
Well, so that was actually the post-credit scene from F9. And they just used that.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Oh yes, I
Oh.
totally forgot about that.
Multiverse of Madness. Yeah.
I thought, it's just he says a line at the end. I forgot what it was, but it's a really badass line, kind of before he drives off.
He says like
and
2
I-
lines.
And I
I'm off
thought
to
the
kill
entire
some people.
something like that. And then once he saw that his mom was like a target, and he goes off and he gets like a bunch of guns, and that was pretty cool, I guess. I mean, I'm grasping at straws here. But, I thought that was a nice scene. Any other scenes that impacted anybody?
I do want to talk about my one favorite scene that stuck out. And it's the scene where we first are introduced to Brie Larson and Alan Richardson's character.
Yes, I remember that scene.
Where did they get the footage from all the previous movies?
I remember that. I was going to say that.
There's that shot of them in 4 where they're just looking at the sunset. No, there was no camera there. You have the footage of them. You have them falling out of the plane with someone with a GoPro, just like, ooh, look at this. They have the submarine chase. They have from the first drag race that we ever see in this franchise. Like, they have everything. Oh my god! that was hilarious. But then they also acknowledge like the inside jokes that everyone becomes part of the family. Like, oh, they corrupt law enforcement, and what everyone becomes part of the family. But
Yeah,
I
had one thing
enjoyed
to
that.
So
scene.
Alan, what's his name again? The character.
Alan Richardson.
Alan Richardson.
Why is his shirt like this? I was so mad during the movie. All of his shirts have that little thing on his right shoulder. The entire movie, he wears like at least 4 of these shirts, and I'm like, what is the point of this? I don't understand it. It's just, I don't know.
It gives the character some much needed personality.
It's to contain the gaze.
I thought the character, that scene with Brie Larson dialogue was so bad. It was just such a CGI looked bad. It just looked like a generic, like it was all for exposition. That's what the scene was for. But it was so like unintentionally funny, and his shirt just got on my nerves throughout the entire movie because he has that little thing on his right shoulder.
I didn't even notice it.
And it's like to separate himself from Hobbs, I think, because I think throughout the entire movie I was like, oh, this is just like a diet Hobbs because they can't get the Rock back. And obviously he turns into a villain at the end. Did anybody expect that? I actually did not, but
I didn't see that coming.
I saw him in the beginning sitting in the bank vault, so like I knew
Oh,
him.
you did?
Nikita's
Nikita's like,
he was sitting there in the bank vault. I'm like, okay, that's
Nikita has to be the villain of the next Fast and Furious movie. I mean, this is.
No, I didn't really see that coming, but then looking back, it was like, oh, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
No,
But,
they just became friends in 1 second.
They're like, I love how they become best friends. Jason Momoa and him. That was my favorite part about how like they go to the flashback of Momoa. They have that dolly shot of him like standing there like really mad after the vault is stolen, and then you just see his character like walk in from the side and be like, "Hey, so what's next?"
We wait 5 years.
And it's like they've been like brothers the entire time. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh,
he's a very tanned individual. Like,
yeah, I just don't know why he was there. But
he needed more muscle on the other side for the next movie.
his action scenes were pretty good. I just thought the shirt really got on my. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's pretty cool if you think about it. But I don't know.
I mean, someone's got to fight the Rock. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
He basically played Jack Reacher.
yeah.
Like from the few Jack Reacher clips I've seen, it was
And
just
playing
exactly
Jack
that.
Reacher doesn't require effort. You
Yeah.
just
So we're
say
on
live
cons
with a
now.
straight face. And
So you mentioned Brie Larson.
Oof.
I didn't mind her too much in the movie. I didn't.
No, I didn't either.
I just thought the scenes were just really bad. There was one scene in particular. I was really laughing. It was the scene where she goes to the pub to talk to Dom. And Dom's just sitting there, like, drinking, like, really sad and shit. And she's like, we need to do something about this. And then Dom he's like, hey, you got to break Letty out of prison. And she's like, oh, why don't you come with me? He's like, nah. And so he doesn't help her get his wife back. And then what does he do next? What is the next thing we see him do? He is racing against Jason Momoa, which has nothing to do with the plot. So he's basically not helping to get his wife back. And he is doing something that is totally like just for fun, basically. It's like,
in Brazil,
go save.
They had to get the racing somehow.
So he's like, hey, you saved my wife. I won't be there. I'm just gonna like go out and race Jason Momoa for no reason whatsoever.
I'm literally gonna get on a plane from Italy and all the way to Brazil for some street racing and go to Antarctica and save my wife. Yeah.
And the entire thing, and also, how did Brie Larson get to Antarctica? And how did she come back from Antarctica?
She is Wonder Woman. She is the
Agency or whatever. It's like the way vibranium can do anything. Oh yeah, the agency can do it.
The biggest con of this movie is blasted Roman. I cannot stand this guy. Like, I mean, he opens his mouth. I just want to shove a tire in there,
Jesus Christ.
Like, Jesus, there's no words for how much headache he gave me, Yeah, like
I did a character ranking of all of my favorite characters in Fast X on Letterboxd. You can check it out if you want. Some pretty fun commentary. But I had Roman and Tej like 50th. They were so not funny in this movie. Just, oh my God, so cringe from the first thing with him and the best. I kept like harkening back to the best Roman moment, which was him and The Rock in Furious 5 when he's like, you got a big ass forehead. And that wasn't even scripted. And I'm like, what happened to that Roman? Like that Roman was so funny. And like this F9, he was at least like kind of like, haha, This Roman just felt like, I hated that entire team. Every scene with him and Tej and Ramsey, except for one. Actually,
I know
I didn't get to, yeah, but it was just they were just. Ramsey was fine. Like I didn't. Ramsey. Ramsey was fine. She did some tech stuff, whatever. Pete Davidson, on the other hand, was like top 5 characters in this movie for me. I felt that scene was really funny. That's just me though.
You just need the Pete Davidson to show up in a Fast and Furious movie sometimes to wake the people up.
So I thought it was really the good muffins, and then he was like,
they could have done more with that.
The coffee machine's working yet.
But I do agree with the Roman thing. I think I'm as much a Roman enjoyer as the next guy, but they have really run that cow dry. Yeah. Like he has some of the most iconic moments in the franchise, like Ejectocito Cuz from the second movie, or in the 6th one where he's almost getting killed by the tank. He says, "There's a tank on my ass," or when he's dragged out of the plane in 7. But now they're really just they're running out.
It's like ChatGPT wrote this whole dialogue. I swear to God, and ChatGPT said it. I think,
I think there's just too many characters, and the writers aren't talented enough to do good things with.
Yeah, that entire subplot was just.
Well, that's my biggest con is this film is so overstuffed with a lot, and I think someone had to get shortchanged, obviously, and it was obviously that group. Like even that Jason Statham scene, I didn't enjoy it because it was just one scene, and then it just. I didn't care. I'd rather hang out with John Cena and the kid or see what Dom's up to. But all the humor of this was very cringeworthy. Mm-hmm. Nothing was funny. And I come to these movies because I like the comedy most of the time. Nothing was funny. I don't think I laughed purposely once.
Maybe with John Cena about the rosé, that scene.
Yeah.
That scene I laughed, Google intuition kid, or something.
That was good.
But there's something else that's bothering me. I don't know if it bothers anybody else. So there's 2 great mysteries in Hollywood. One is what happened to Wanda's accent in the MCU, and 2, why is Dom's kid changing skin tone?
I agree. He's different in every movie.
I mean, he was born white. That dude is white, and then as he gets older, he's just black all of a sudden. I
was trying to rationalize it in my head because I'm like, Michelle Rodriguez maybe in franchise like half black. I don't know.
No, Nikki, that's not how puberty works. You don't just go from white to black.
I'm just trying to find explanation. This is a brainstorming session, and we're trying to resolve this situation.
No, that's unexplainable.
Did no one else?
What will he look like in the next movie? I wonder.
Probably Asian. I don't know.
He'll be like super tall. He'll have gone through puberty.
Did no one else enjoy the Pete Davidson scene? I thought that was.
I enjoyed it.
Scene. I thought it was a good scene.
It's a
delightful cameo.
Oh, okay, interesting. Because I actually really enjoyed it. I thought he was funny. I thought the one thing I didn't enjoy, kind of going back to Roman and Tej, is the whole beef between the two. I just found it severely not funny. And they had that little fight scene. I don't know. I don't know why they're fighting in the first place, and I don't remember if they were fighting in Fast 9.
No, they weren't.
There was bickering.
Yeah,
but never like.
Yeah. I just didn't really buy into it. Other cons. So Daniel Melchior is in this movie. I didn't know that. So when I saw her pop up in the movie, I thought it was Lana Rhoades.
My God.
God damn it.
And when we first see her, I'm like, oh, Lana Rhoades is in this. And because the Fast and Furious franchise is so like over the top that I was rationalizing it in my head. I was like, okay, this is this cameo. I guess it makes sense. Yeah, and then as the movie went on, I'm like, oh, I think that's Daniel Melchior because I vaguely remember she was maybe supposed to be in this movie, and maybe that's not Lana Rhoades. But yeah, so that's what I thought at first. Also, the fact that she's related to what's her face from
Elena,
from what was the last movie she was in? 6? I can't.
No, she was in 8. She's the mother of Dom's kid.
Oh, dude. Really?
What? Yeah. You didn't know that?
I thought that was Letty.
8 is your favorite Fast and Furious, and you don't even know that?
Thank you.
Because Michelle Rodriguez, I was like, oh, maybe she's like half black, but she is definitely not black.
That was the whole plot of Fast 8. Like, what?
Okay, now that makes a lot more sense.
The ethnicity of the kid was the plot. What?
No, the kid himself was the whole plot. Getting him out.
Oh
Man,
my
I
God.
forgot this film, man. I'm sorry. Like, I wiped it from my drive. Yeah.
But like, oh my God, when they were like, when she's like, oh, I'm the sis. It's like a melodrama when she has like a picture of
Soap
her on the
opera.
wall, and she's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm the. He's like, your sister was a good woman. She was honorable, and I'm like, oh, come on, man. We already got Brie Larson as the sister of Little Nobody and the daughter of Mr. Nobody, who is still missing apparently. Who's trying to find him? Nobody. Pun intended.
He's just drinking some
Is he
Belgian
missing or is he
ale.
dead? They keep going back and forth. I'm so confused with what's going on with Kurt
because I
Russell.
think they're not sure if Kurt Russell's gonna come back, so they're keeping the door.
He's in the submarine. He's in the submarine.
Yes.
He's driving it.
Everyone who is dead is in that submarine. Yeah. Like they open
Like
the gate
everybody
and
in
all
this
the dead
movie,
guys
and
coming
it's a
out.
running joke where he's like, he's like, oh, where she sees Dom Brie Larson, and he's like, oh, I think Mr. Nobody said he had a daughter, and I'm like, when did he say this?
Never.
Scott Eastwood was in this movie, guys. That was fun, I guess.
I wish he blew up in that
What?
truck. I do not like him at all.
I don't
What was
mind
the
him.
movie?
I didn't mind him in 8. I thought he worked in 8.
I don't know. I just
I
like
was
Kurt Russell a lot.
surprised to see Scott Eastwood. I didn't remember he was in any movie. Yeah. I guess this guy's in there too now.
What were our thoughts of good old Dominic
It is,
Toretto in this movie?
He's very dumb.
He's very dumb.
But he's not as superhero as he was in the last one. He does kind of lift the car, but he doesn't push like 30 guys.
No,
into,
Luke, don't sugar. He lifted a car. Okay,
He didn't fully lift it. He just tipped it over.
And why did
one
you have to
arm.
lift it with one hand? Like, why is he holding a shotgun for? Like, no one's attacking you. Just put it on and lift it with 2 hands like any normal person would. Yeah.
It looks better on camera.
No, but he was really in tune with the character. I think this guy cares the most, obviously, about this franchise, and he's the engine, literally the diesel engine behind it. And bravo to him. Like, this is that's whole life's project, and he's giving it all that he can with all his acting range and emotion, whatever he can muster with the constant flexing and everything. He brings it all to this role. So yeah, can't hate on that. It's I mean, obviously it's all a mess, but the guy does his best. Yeah, especially in this movie, it was better than the previous even. Yeah.
What were our thoughts on Han?
Man, Han became like Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
I don't know what he learned how to fight.
He used to be cool. Now he's
This
just
is
there.
one slap and you're cancelled, and there he is holding his own against him. I don't know how. Where did he come from? You ruined my chips. I don't know what. Get out of here, yeah.
How did he know? I guess that doesn't really matter too much in comparison to the rest of the kind of everything that happens in the plot. But the fact that he knows where Shaw is.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you killed me. I'm just gonna show up here. Yeah. Like.
One subplot we didn't talk about. What was our thought of the Letty Cypher dynamic?
I forgot about them, to be honest.
Clearly just set up for the next movie. I mean, it was fine. I wish they didn't spoil like all of their fight scene in the trailers, but I mean,
the fight scene was okay.
It was fine.
I thought it was pretty good.
No, the fight scene was fine. I just wish they didn't spoil like a lot of it in the trailers and the marketing, but I enjoyed it.
Was that big
clearly
jump
set up for the next movie though?
that Letty did?
My favorite part of the movie, I wrote this in my review. Funny Luke said it. So at the end of the movie, after like all the action happens and that damn shot of the close up of Dom and his kid, like the dam is about to explode, like what's gonna happen? And then they cut to Letty and Cypher, and there's a guy in my theater who goes, "They're still there."
This is why I have to go to an American theater once so I can hear these things.
He yelled it, and I was like, "Yeah, dude, I totally forgot." That entire thing in the prison was, the fact that there were not very many people in the prison to begin with. So that's number one.
Yeah, it's the chillest prison ever. Yeah.
And then I guess sure, the summer. I have a feeling like Rod said, a lot of it's set up for the next one. But that subplot was, I think Letty is so boring, so I don't know, not much to say there. What were our thoughts on the entire Cypher thing with her beating up like 20 men, and then I guess
she's the atomic blonde. Of course she can
that makes
do that.
yeah. I just forgot that she had fighting skills, so I was very confused. I thought she was just like a hacker.
When did they beat up 20 men?
When
At
Jason Momoa came to her lair.
Okay, that's there. Okay, and then that facility. Okay, yeah.
I'm just glad she got a fight scene.
Everyone in this movie is a martial arts expert.
Exactly. Even Ramsey.
Starting with 6.
Yeah, even Ramsey. That's true.
Let me just lock my keyboard. I'm gonna punch some guys.
What? Also, why was that the guard was like, drop your computer? Like, what? What's she gonna do? Like, shoot you with the computer? Like, that's not like it. Like, you're supposed to tackle her. Like, whatever. That's all I have to say. Any other things that we didn't mention? Characters, moments that people wanted to mention.
Whoa. I hear the engines in the back.
Yeah, he's outside. He's hearing you guys talk bad about his movie.
Why was Helen Mirren in this movie again?
What?
Helen Mirren. Exactly. Alex.
Oh,
Helen Mirren showed up.
So that Jason Statham can act upon it.
So did Rita Moreno. They should have like a spin-off on them. Like a book club.
Slow and pleasant.
Who is this aunt that showed up at the barbecue at the Corona commercial? Who is this aunt? Who this? I thought this is Helen Mirren for a second. I'm like, what the hell is she doing there? Yeah, but I'm just so confused.
Rita Moreno was there. That's Dom's mom.
Where did she come from?
Dom's grandma.
Oh, grandma? Oh, okay. Never mind.
Was she before?
Was
no.
she in... Oh, she was. I thought she was in
appearance.
Oh,
Yeah,
I did not know
movie.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
They got an EGOT winner to show up in the Fast franchise. Like, what can't
And also,
they do?
I love how Brian's not supposed to be dead, right? He's supposed to be like alive and well, taking care of his kid. But then you have Dom looking at the pictures of Brian with the music playing, and then Rita Moreno's like, "Oh, don't worry, as long as your heart's in the right place." I'm like, he's not dead; he's still alive. Like, why are you mourning over him?
They were breaking the fourth wall. Yeah, I don't know, Alex. It's just.
Also, why do that house is not very safe? Let's just
It's been destroyed like 7 times.
It is not very safe. Let's move somewhere else, perhaps somewhere with walls, Dom.
They have enough money. They robbed that bank in Rio. Like,
well, the money is gone now.
No, they're broke now, Luke.
Yeah,
they're broke now again. Where did it go?
Momoa took all.
They took it. He took it, didn't they?
To fund his
Momoa just
super
and that's it. Money is gone. Yeah.
They're gonna have to
5
rob
movies
me.
worth of work down the toilet.
There was that weird reveal of Roman having like the money jacket in that one scene. They're just like slow-mo of him going like whoosh. I'm like, oh, that's like okay, sure.
It's convenient.
It's like chump change, compared to what they spent. Yeah.
My favorite part about Roman is that whenever he used like physical money, he would lick his fingers whenever he'd do it. He'd just be like, Roman. Who else showed up?
Roman the showman.
Who else showed up in this movie? I can't remember. Oh, Brie Larson got shot that one time. Fun. She just showed up out of nowhere in like a blue pantsuit. Scotty
Like,
Eastwood,
where did she come from? Literally, where the fuck
Antarctica.
Did she come
That's where she came from.
appeared, you know what? I'm on this bridge, whatever. Let's shoot up some guys. Yeah, like. Sweet goodness.
Yeah, I think that's totally that covers everything. As we move on now to our next best character. Who's your best character in the movie?
Momoa.
Has to be.
I'm going Jacob. Nikita?
Yeah, I think so.
Close second.
Jacob was enjoyable to watch.
All right. Yeah. Worst character.
Roman on 1, 2, 3.
I'm going Roman.
Yeah, that whole group of Roman, Tej, Ramsey.
I'd give the whole group something because no one did anything to stand out.
I thought Ramsey was the best of the 3 for me. I mean, she didn't do anything, I guess. I guess she was like tolerable.
Going back to the broken pencil analogy, please.
All right, who was the Dion Waiters of the movie? Somebody who barely showed up, but when they did, they...
It has to be Pete, right?
Pete Davidson, yeah. He was...
Yeah. I'm thinking.
I'll just agree with you guys and say Pete Davidson.
Let's go.
And Hobbs, of course.
Ah, yes. All right, we talked about the villain. Pretty good villain. All right, mid-credit scene.
Oh, I so wish that article didn't spoil it.
I know.
I agree.
I was mad.
I would have lost
Yeah.
my mind. Oh.
It was sad, but it was still
But still-
enjoyable for the most part. I don't understand why. Again, it harkened back to like a Joker-esque scene where you have like an old TV show, and I'm like, what does this have to do with Hobbs? It's like Jason Momoa is like a creepy serial killer guy. It's like this is not in. And now all of a sudden he's a hacker. All of a sudden he's this.
He's
and that.
everything. He's everything. He's
It's
everything.
so
yeah.
confusing. And in the scene, I'm like, it's like they were like, oh, you know what? Something like, let's have like an old Western TV show on there and to scare Hobbs, because that whatever. But
that
yeah,
was shaken by the core, yeah. Oof.
But,
It was
The
something
rock
like
is shaking. Yeah.
Dom may have like robbed my father or something, but you were the one that pulled the trigger.
Well, yes, yeah.
And then we see the reveal, and his goatee has gone gray.
yes, I remember. Yes.
His goatee is back that he didn't have in
All right.
Hobbs and Shaw.
I
The
know
one
this is,
character feature that he
so
has.
I guess this is a con, but I guess another problem I had with the Momoa character was the motive. Because the dad was such a forgettable character, and you never see the bond between the two, that it doesn't make as much sense later in the film where he's out for revenge for his father, that we're like, okay, were you even close to that dude? It just made everything in relation to his connection to family and being like, oh, Dom, I want to destroy your family because you destroyed mine. It's like, no, you killed like one guy. Also, I found it funny when they were going through Jason Momoa's backstory, they felt the need to mention how his mom was a Pacific Islander to make it more sense as to why he's like not Latino like his dad.
I must have missed that part.
You missed it?
part as
Okay,
well.
I was listening because I was.
So now he has a rivalry with Hobbs. Like
He
already
does.
there.
He does.
Yeah, they go back to Samoa, part 2. Yeah.
That'll be fun. But if we get John Cena in the mix, if we see John Cena, The Rock, and Jason Momoa, I'm sold. In part 2, but that kind of moves on to our next category, our last one of the day. What's next for the franchise? What do you guys envision happening in Fast X Part 2 and 3?
I won't take credit for this, but the podcast I was on previously, my co-host had a theory or a wish rather that the next movie is more about the side characters, that it's more of a Hobbs and Shaw 2, and then you get like Gal Gadot and sort of like the B characters. Like we don't know what happens to Dom for like a while, and then the third one, like you get everyone, like just absolutely everyone. So that's probably not gonna happen. Like I don't see a world where Dom is not like the focus of a Fast and Furious movie, but it would be cool. But and I don't think Jason Momoa is the final boss. I think someone else is gonna be.
It's Tom Cruise.
there.
It has to be the
I hope
leader.
it's Tom Cruise. They met at the Miami Grand Prix. They can
I
work
saw
it
that.
out. He's done with Mission Impossible soon.
I think it will be the organization that what's his face works for, the Nobody organization, because you saw all the people like
You think
their
there's
faces were blacked out. It's like a
above
it's like a
Mr.
specter.
Nobody?
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
specter for the Fast and Furious franchise. So I agree with Luke there. Any other predictions?
I'm just wondering how the submarine will come into the play. I mean, clearly they they're gonna use it somehow, and now you have Dom, his son there at the bottom of this ravine. Whatever is gonna happen to them, it's all up. And The Rock, of course, enters the mix. Jason Statham is gonna go wild. I think the movie will open with Jason Statham going to town on whoever.
Yeah.
But I think it's just not enough villains for all of this, like family, for lack of the better word. There's just so many of them. Like everyone is in it now. Everyone's alive. Everyone's resurrected.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like they need to add some more like side mini bosses, or I don't know what they're gonna do. Yeah. And this is. I don't know what to even think. I mean, yeah.
Am I remembering correctly, or is Luke Evans is alive, right? That was
Yeah.
the reveal later.
Yeah, he
He's in the
helped
submarine.
Statham
He's in
save
the
the baby.
Okay, yeah. So is he in the next movie? Hope so.
He could be.
Yeah.
But he'd be on the good side, so.
He is on the good side.
He's the family. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other? Is there any character that you haven't brought back yet that you think they're going to bring back?
Those two Brazilian dudes, they should bring those back.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's-
Oh,
Were they
Lucas Black,
Brazilian?
perhaps from Tokyo
They should
Ah,
Drift?
bring
please,
Bow
no.
Wow back. I want the whole
Bow
Tokyo
Wow.
Drift gang. This is my favorite group of people. I love Tokyo Drift, and I wish.
Really? Oh,
I love Tokyo Drift.
Drift, great.
Yeah.
They haven't.
It's the last proper racing movie, in this whole bloody franchise.
That's true.
Yeah.
There was one character. Who was it? Oh my god, I forget. Oh, the one character who died in this movie was that dude who was winning the race, which I felt bad for him because he was.
The guy they took the Porsche from in Fast 5.
Yeah.
Oh, he was in Fast 5. Oh,
Mhm.
I totally forgot.
You're not a true fan, Alex.
I was just really sad. And Momoa won the race, which okay, sure, you cheated.
But that race was like 100 meters. Yeah, they just took off, boom, end of race, and everyone's dead. Yeah.
The scene was fun though. Harken back to a lot of classic Fast and Furious with like the dancers and.
I hope this next one isn't as overstuffed as this one, because we're going to get like a whole 20-minute backstory of what happened to Gal Gadot, why she hasn't been around since Fast and Furious.
I don't think anyone cares.
That's what I'm saying. How the hell did she survive that? I'm looking forward to hearing that explanation of how she survived that.
I think I talked about this before. I mean, it's not the most. She fell off a plane. That's not that far of a fall.
If
right?
Owen Shaw survived falling off the plane, so could she.
If Han survived being blown up in the bloody car, what are we talking about?
Yes, that means Jacob.
He was literally barbecue chicken, and then he's out there. Yeah.
So that means Jacob. Good news for him later on.
Jacob is already chilling with them,
He's already.
Yeah.
Maybe if we get Rita Moreno and Helen Mirren on in the action, they're like 80 for Dom, and
more like 95 for Roman,
All right, folks, that's going to do it for our spoiler discussion for...
I do want to mention one more thing. You guys know there's a certain thing going on in Hollywood right now. It's been going for a few weeks. It's called the writer's strike.
Oh, wow.
Can Fast X Part 2 be a writer's strike movie? Can we get a Transformers Revenge of the Fallen kind of situation?
What happened in Revenge of the Fallen?
It's just a writer's strike movie, so it was not very well written.
Not as good. Well, okay.
Can we get that for Fast X Part 2?
How can it? Is it gonna
Transformers: The Last Night was perfectly written with the writers. I mean, writers certainly fixed the situation.
I think Fast and Furious is due for a writer's strike script.
They're due for some AI.
I don't think the writers are gonna. I don't think it's gonna be any worse because of that. No, I mean.
I don't think
you don't need to get worse.
That. How can it get worse?
Yeah.
And I think again, like Vin Diesel, like Nikita's mentioned, is so dedicated. I don't think he would fall to those depths.
He would write it himself. Couple of shots of Nos and let's go.
All right, folks. So that's gonna do it for our Fast X spoiler discussion. But before we end it today, Luke, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on the League's YouTube channel, of course, or on Look Reviews on Instagram and YouTube.
Rod.
You can find me at the Cinema Gallery, and you can find me on my podcast, my buddy Ben, at the Infinity Film Podcast. It's got a Steven Spielberg episode coming out this week. So,
are you gonna have a Fast X episode?
I don't think so. No, we might briefly.
Are you gonna pitch your Wizard of Oz remake?
Yeah, no Wizard of Oz episode coming anytime soon, Luke. Sorry.
Nikita.
You can find me at Movies Without Schmovies on Instagram. You can go and see my recent roast of said film. Some of the things have been mentioned there. So, yeah, hope you have a laugh.
All right, guys. And you can find us as always, TLC Productions on Instagram. I had to really
movie coming soon.
Yeah. Also, it's not in the link in the description, but we have a website that's up. So I'll put that in the description. So make sure you guys check that out as well. TLC Productions. Just search it up and you can find it. TikTok, League of Cinephiles. I didn't even change the name there. God damn it. I have to change all my links in the description. So don't listen to anything else I'm saying. All right, guys. Thank you all for joining us for our Fast X spoiler discussion. We'll be back to you soon with trivia, cinemores, all that jazz. Talk to you soon, guys. Ciao.